Hey everybody, welcome back to Train of Thoughts. My name is Trey, and this is where I share my thoughts on the Winnipeg Jets. Big win, 3-2 over the Dallas Stars earlier today. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but seemed to be kind of a typical 2019 Jets win. After 18 games, it seems like this is the formula for success that they've been following. Kind of a grit and grind game against a team with kind of a similar style. So big win nonetheless against a good team, against a divisional opponent. So quick scoring recap. Jets took 1-0 lead in the final minute of the first period on a power play goal by Patrick Laine, where he blistered a shot into the top right corner of the net, perfectly placed. Not much you can do about it as a defender, except probably get out of the way of it. So 1-0 after the first period. Dallas took a 2-1 lead into the third period. Very quickly in the third period, Andrew Kopp tied the game on juicy rebound opportunity that Tucker Poolman created by throwing the puck at the nets. They go into overtime. Mark Scheifele says, "We're not gonna mess around, boys." Is on a 2-on-1 with Kyle Connor, takes a shot and risks it into the back of the net for a 3-2 win. Connor Hellebuck, another solid game, stopping 26 out of 28 Dallas shots. And honestly, for this video, I don't want to talk a lot about stats. I want to talk about this team's budding identity or growing identity, however you want to say it. Really been thinking about it, especially since that game against the Canucks, because that game against the Canucks looked like the Jets' formula for success 2 years ago and kind of what they wanted to see last year, but they didn't as much. They're really budding into a pretty solid defensive team. They are having some turnovers, deep in their own territory, which you'd like to cut out, but those things are going to happen every once in a while. But pretty strong defensively. Guys are, doing their jobs, knowing their assignments, knowing where they need to be on the ice. And this just seems like a gritty team, which I think is going to be huge if they want to have success. Where they are able to take games, keep them close if they're behind, get back into the game, tie the game, and then play lockdown defense. How many games this year have we seen the Jets tie the game in the third period and then play lockdown defense to where they head to overtime? Last year, how many times did they blow leads in the third period? How many times were they tied in the last couple minutes and they blew the game? I remember so many games last year being like, oh man, Jets need to win this game. Jets need to win this game. And then they give up a game-tying goal and going, dang, now we're going to go to overtime. The other team's going to get a point. And then 30 seconds later, the other team has the lead. And it's like, dang, I hope they tie the game and get a point out of it. So this team has been through a lot already. I mean, training camp was a whirlwind with Laine and Connor not being there and some of the drama around that, with Byfuglien not reporting and the drama that is still present with that, with a lot of young players. Adjusting to a younger, not experienced defensive core. And they've really buckled down on the defensive side. And they've also really seem like they have a very strong, tight-knit group that they are communicating with each other, since they're not maybe as familiar with where they need to be. They're communicating a lot more. I heard Connor Hellebuck say that the other night, that in this period where the defense is learning their identity, that they're talking a lot more, and that's awesome. And I'm not saying it's bad to be so comfortable with each other that you don't need to talk. You just know where each other's going to be. That's awesome. But it's awesome to see them communicating on the ice and talking and having that growth. And it seems like a lot of the adversity that they've gone through, especially with the injuries, had a bunch of injuries on the defensive side. Got Brian Little out right now, where when he came back, it seemed like that stabilized some things. Adam Lowry had that suspension. Laine was out for a couple of games. And it seems like they've just developed a systematic game where no matter who's out there, they know what they're supposed to be doing and what's expected of them. And that's wonderful. And that's when we were having all this stuff in training camp, it's like, man, I hope that this group becomes a team and a unit where they can not have to be superstars. Yes, you want your superstars to be superstars, but it's not about having Jacob Trouba and Tyler Myers and all these defensemen that left. It's about having a unit. And that's what I'm liking about this team, is they seem to be a pretty cohesive unit that is mentally tough, and they're in these gritty, grinding games. And it seems like towards the end of the game, even if they're not controlling the possession, they're kind of dictating the pace or whatever, of like, you know what, you're not going to score. We're going to, at the very least, take this to overtime. And they've only had one loss when they've gone past regulation. I think they've had how many games now? 7. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact number, but they haven't lost in overtime. The only game they lost was in a shootout. So I really like this identity. I really like the way that Paul Maurice has pushed buttons with moving guys around, with different line combinations, different power play combinations. Kevin Cheveldayoff, the GM, has made some great moves of picking up Carl Dahlstrom. I know he hasn't been playing the last couple of games, but he really brought some stabilization to the D. Luka Spizza, with over 500 games of experience in the NHL, has brought a ton to the defensive core, and he was able to be plugged in right away and has played well. So at the beginning of the year, when it's like, oh man, they have no experience on D, and then when Morrissey was out for a couple of games, a lot of those guys that are inexperienced, whatever, are really growing, and now you got some experienced guys to help take that burden off. And there's guys like Neil Pionk that is still relatively young in games played, who is pretty much on a nightly basis leading the group of D-men in ice time. So that's kind of what I want to talk about. I'm really excited about this win, but I'm excited to see this style being played, which I know it's only November, and who knows how the rest of the season is going to shake out. But if this team wants to make the playoffs, this is how playoff games are going to be. And if they can get comfortable in this style of game and play the lockdown D and be able to be gritty and stuff, what happens if this offense starts clicking? What happens if they start winning like they did 2 years ago, where it seemed like there's so many games that they were winning 5-2 or 4-1 or 5-3 or 4-2, well, whatever you want to say, that they weren't nail-biting wins. So if they can play this lockdown D, awesome. So that's about what I have. Please tell me your thoughts in the comment section. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you really like this video, please hit that subscribe button. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate the support. I'll look forward to talking to you guys again soon. Jets play on Tuesday night, so I'll look forward to having a video after they play the Avs. Thanks, and have a great night.